The first black president of South Africa, known to be the one instrumental in installing democracy and tearing down the oppressive apartheid government. We celebrate him today, Nelson Mandela International Day. How to honor the legacy of such a great man? As you go about your day, embrace the opportunities to stand up for peace and human rights, as Mandela did. You're inside none other than Jamaica Magazine. And I'm Adrian Atkinson. We have more coming up after these messages.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, July 18, 2023. Jamaica is among regional countries participating in the European Union Community of Latin American and Caribbean States EU-CELAC Summit. Prime Minister Andrew Holness and a delegation is in Brussels, Belgium, where he met with EU Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy Josep Borrell on Monday. Among the topics discussed were climate financing for development and the strengthening of partnership between Jamaica and the EU through increased trade in goods and services. In respect to services, Mr. Holness says the conversation focused on easier movement across borders through reciprocal visa arrangements. Groups that could benefit include those in entertainment, culture and sports, as well as other professionals. Bilateral relations with the Dominican Republic was also deepened with talks on trade, travel, investment and language and cultural exchanges. Prime Minister Holness says the coming together of leaders is important to building a fair and robust multilateral system. An artificial intelligence task force is being formed to conduct research and provide an evidence-based foundation for the development of a national AI policy. Minister with Oversight for Skills and Digital Transformation, Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon, made the announcement on Friday during her contribution to the State of the Nation debate in the Senate.
The task force research will comprehensively analyze the current state of AI in Jamaica, including research and development activities, and there's already quite a bit of AI already being deployed in some of our entities in Jamaica. It will look at adoption levels and challenges faced by various sectors of the economy.
Senator Dixon acknowledged the very real concerns about generative AI, a type of artificial intelligence that can create a wide variety of data, including convincingly authentic images, videos, and audio of real people. This has sparked concerns about deep fakes, digitally forged images or videos, as well as harmful cybersecurity attacks on businesses. But the minister with responsibility for skills and digital transformation says the use of AI and other technology will be important for boosting production, productivity, and economic growth for the country. The task force is therefore also expected to identify opportunities for the adoption of AI technologies, potential areas of economic growth and development, and potential social impacts.
We must understand the risks and implement the necessary safeguards to allow us to respond to the rapid rate of technology change and to ultimately scale with confidence.
Work has begun on a two-story administrative building for the St. Anne's Health Department following a groundbreaking exercise on Friday. The project is being funded by the Ministry of Health and the National Health Fund to the tune of over $362 million. Completion is projected within the next 10 months. Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says $35 million is also allocated to purchase furniture and equipment for the facility.
It's a lot of resources that are going to be spent, nearly $400 million between building and equipment or infrastructure, internal infrastructure. It means, therefore, that at the end of the process, we expect to see a first-class facility.
The current administrative building can no longer adequately accommodate staff and carry out all the necessary functions. The St. Anne Health Department provides management and administrative services to the 5 health districts in the parish, which have a combined population of over 174,000 persons. D.T. Brown Construction Limited will carry out the work.
The current building, if you look to your, that's to your what? Right? To your left, my right? from which administrative services are provided has become inadequate to accommodate the staff and service upgrades for the health department. With a staff complement of over 420, 80 of whom should be working from the administrative building, approximately 20 employees are currently displaced, and hence the critical need for this project.
Government is welcoming the latest investment in Jamaica's manufacturing sector, a $150 million strategic move by Ansa McCall Group of Companies to improve its local operations. During a recent reception, Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Senator Aubin Hill, said the investment had significant potential for the local manufacturing sector.
It's the kind of company we want in Jamaica to make sure they upskill Jamaicans, they broaden their vistas, they make sure they have good jobs. We want to make sure people manufacture things, repackage things, and sell them all from Jamaica.
The investment is expected to enhance the efficiency and profitability of entities under the group, which include Berger Paints and Ansa McCall Chemicals Limited.
This year alone, we will invest over $150 million in retooling Berger Jamaica's operations to drive further efficiencies and capacity expansion. I have set a very ambitious target for our group, which is to double our size and profitability by 2027, with the aim to achieve an annual profitability of $300 million US. Jamaica is very much part of that journey.
The Ansa McCall Group comprises 48 companies in the fields of automotive, beverage, construction, distribution, financial services, manufacturing, real estate, retail, media, and the service sectors. And finally, a transport steering committee has been established to address ongoing issues in the public transport sector. The steering committee comprises representatives from the Transport Association, the Transport Authority, the Island Traffic Authority, and other sector stakeholders. It will also include Portfolio Minister Darrell Vaz and Opposition spokesman Mikhail Phillips. Minister Vaz says the committee will facilitate inclusive discussions with transport operators.
This steering committee will be integral to the discussions to achieve an outcome and a consensus with all of the pressing outstanding matters. And I want to pay tribute to the responsible reaction, despite the frustration of the sector in relation to these long outstanding matters, not the least of which is the fare increase that they have been lobbying for.
Minister Vaz was speaking at the retreat for transport operators hosted by the Transport Authority last Thursday. He said the steering committee would also provide input on the development of the rural school bus system.
So, yes, we are going to look to see how we can implement a pilot project, and it is obvious that to get the participation and the investment of existing transport operators to buy into this vision and to help us to come up with the final model can only be beneficial in terms of time and experience.
Minister Vaz also toured the Ocho Rios Transportation Center, where he spoke with vendors, taxi operators, and other stakeholders. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
And now let's take a look at what happened in the office of the Prime Minister this past week.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness hands over 10 social houses, implements stronger oversight of the South Coast Highway Improvement Project, and strengthens a partnership agreement for opportunities in the blue economy. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Marjorie Gordon. Oversight of the South Coast Highway Improvement Project SHIP has been strengthened to ensure its timely completion. Last week, Prime Minister Holness assigned direct management and daily supervision to E.G. Hunter, CEO of the National Works Agency. Mr. Hunter will ensure that the contractor, China Harbour Engineering Company, meets the designated targets. The Prime Minister is also getting more directly involved in the project.
I met with the ambassador of China, where we discussed other infrastructural issues, and I raised with them the need for this project to be completed as quickly as possible. So I am expecting that there will be greater speed and alacrity in the completion of the project. But I still urge our Jamaican citizens, particularly those who live and traverse the area of St. Thomas and Portland, to bear in mind the great complexity of the project that is being undertaken, and the fact is that there is no alternate route that could be used.
The South Coast Highway Improvement Project represents the largest integrated infrastructure program to be undertaken in Jamaica. The multi-billion-dollar project is being executed in 3 parts. Part A is 28 kilometers from Maypen to Williamsfield, while Part B, subsection 2, involves 17.4 kilometers from Harbour View to Yallus Bridge. The third phase, Part B, subsections 3 and 4, will have work done on 123.65 kilometers of road from the Yallus Bridge to Port Antonio and Morant Bay to Cedar Valley. Still on construction, Mr. Holness has welcomed the social intervention program by Caribbean Cement Company to pave pathways in inner-city communities using concrete technology. Newly paved concrete roads in MacDonald Place in Olympic Garden, St. Andrew, were officially opened last week. The rehabilitation also involves the rechanneling of rainwater to improve the living condition of residents.
When it rained, there was no direction of the water. So it is highly likely that in a heavy shower of rain, homes would be flooded and persons would find it very inconvenient to use these muddy pathways. Now, with the paving of this area and the channeling of the water, with a heavy shower of rain, it is quite likely now that within minutes, these pathways would be usable in great comfort.
Mr. Holness says with the use of cement being widely embraced in road construction, the government is looking to expand the usage.
Certainly, you will notice if you travel on our highways, we have now made it almost a mandatory feature that we put in what is called road dividers or jersey barriers. The jersey barriers increase the safety of the road, and that is entirely concrete. So that is an increase in the amount of concrete that we use. And sometimes we do use concrete in the sub base of the road to stabilize the base so that when you put asphalt on it, it lasts longer.
Also on the itinerary last week for Prime Minister Holness was the handover of 10 units under the National Social Housing Program. 5 well-deserving families were from St. Elizabeth. Another 3 families from Clarendon are now also homeowners. And 2 Manchester families are enjoying their new shelter. For the recipients, the moment represents a symbol of hope and stability for their future.
I'm very grateful. I'm not saying I'm ungrateful, I'm very grateful so that I can own a home for myself, to where I'm coming from, to where I've been today. I'm so grateful and happy.
Mr. Holness says $500 million is allocated yearly to support the project, but more is required to reach more people.
It is not enough. Ideally, we would like to allocate 3 or 4 times that amount of money in order to truly make an impact on people who are living in substandard housing conditions. However, given the demand on the budget, this is the best we can do at this time we intend to increase the amount in the coming financial year so more people can get.
Further talks were held with Georgia Aquarium on its partnership with the government to explore opportunities in the blue economy. Members of the team, led by Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Senator Aubin Hill, met with Prime Minister Holness on Tuesday. Jamaica and Georgia Aquarium signed an agreement in May for the purchase of ornamental fish for both countries, along with training and protection of important marine areas. During the week, Prime Minister Andrew Holness also made time for courtesy calls with key stakeholders in social and national development. He also expressed sadness at the passing of Winston Williams and Jill Stewart, the wife of Adam Stewart. Deepest condolences were extended to both families. And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next week for more of the news stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
Gone are the days when what children learned in school were just the traditional subjects, leading to the same traditional outcomes. Now, while it has molded and led to brilliant minds, there's nothing wrong with change. Our children are already excelling academically. Let's get them equipped with the 21st century skills. Have I sparked your interest? Watch this.
Let's go full steam ahead.
If you have the opportunity to get a STEM education, then you should, regardless of the field or the career choice. So even if you want to be a lawyer, the skills are transferable. So you still need to be a problem solver. You still need to be able to think critically. Employers are looking for graduates with STEM skills, with these 21st century skills.
Teaching future generations to think logically, critically, and focused on problem solving, all while grasping 21st century skills, is a challenge of a lifetime.
And the right policy to be put in place is to make sure that we are building schools that are going to be empowering our young people with science, technology, engineering, mathematics.
And of course, arts.
Because we believe that that is a space that we own and we can exploit for our economic and social development.
The new STEAM Academy being built at Dunby Holden in Bernard Lodge, St. Catherine, is not where it ends. STEAM is being infused in all aspects of public education, but the method modified to suit each environment. At the Alpha Primary School, a partnership with a private institution, STEM Builders Learning Hub, is expanding the aptitude and skills of children as young as age 6.
Little Einstein's program started in 2022, and it is out of the need to actually reach the students where they are at their different levels, and also to ensure that we start early. So this program primarily is for early childhood education institutions and for primary schools. So the program actually takes place once a week or twice, depending on the need. And we actually take the students through hands-on learning by them creating different things like robots, flashlights. So they're learning the theory, but they're also creating. Hi, I'm Cavell Hilton, CEO and founder of STEM Builders Learning Hub. We connect students to quality science, technology, engineering, and mathematics tutors, as well as resources, including our STEM activity box or science kits. STEM Builders Learning Hub started because we recognize the need to provide quality resources for students.
We have done helium balloons, an explosion, a flashlight, a glow-in-the-dark slime, and now we are building an air car.
I would love to expand the program to the upper school, especially as the children are moving out into secondary education. I believe they are now at that phase where they need to make a decision about their own professional development and also as innovators to create new jobs. So I am processing, putting it into the school, We just need to consider some of the resources we would need in order to do so.
One of the major benefits of enrolling children in STEAM education is the fact that it awards them the skills associated with the 4 C's of what is needed to excel in this 21st century: critical thinking, communication, creativity, and collaboration.
STEAM education is very inclusive because it encourages students to do hands-on activities. And the kind of question that students are asked to answer, they're not given the answer, so they would need to think about it. It allows them to experiment if they are wrong. It also gives them the time to go back, think about what they did wrong and how they are able to correct it.
All right, so interesting story. Some years ago, my son is now an adult, he shared with me that he thinks school dumbed him, in quotes. When I spoke with him, he shared that he think he could have done much better, but the limitation of school caused him to do what was required, not what he could have done based on his potential. I was a grade 6 teacher and so was enthused about higher order thinking skills, and then I realized that for STEAM, it afforded children to reason at a new level and to think outside of the box.
As it relates to artificial intelligence, AI, I'm optimistic about the future as it relates to it. And knowing everything, you have negative and positive, but I think the approach is for us not to fear the technology because it's here whether we like it or not. And so my approach is to figure out how we can use it in our classroom in a safe way, and also for us to be able to not just be consumers of this technology, but that we try to also create things that will represent our perspective and our point of view from this side of the world, from a female, from a black person, from a Caribbean person.
Give our children a chance to be their greatest self. As Jamaicans, we see children by age and we say, no, I'm too young, you can't do that. However, what do we know? See a child as an empty slate. See a child as a blank computer. You input the data and look at what the computer will do. I believe that to an extent we have limited what they can, or we determine what they can do. Let us give them a chance to excel. Let's give them the opportunity and watch them blossom, as I'm sure they will.
The goal of STEAM education is to foster the true innovation that comes with combining the mind of a scientist or technologist with that of an artist or designer and letting it work together for the greater good. So, how prepared are you in getting your child ready for STEAM education? It's already here. Get with the times and help put your child on the map with the skills of tomorrow.
Food scarcity is unfortunately one of the humanitarian crises facing our world. We as a people must take it upon ourselves to see how best we can combat this. But are you low on the space to do so? Fret not. It is possible, even in the smallest of spaces.
Urban gardening is the cultivation of vegetables, fruits, aromatic plants, and herbs in an enclosed space or your backyard. It's an ideal way for those with little space to participate in the process of food production, saving money while feeding themselves. Practical application is one of the best methods of imparting new knowledge. The Jamaica 4-H Clubs ran with that concept when it set up an urban garden display project at 123 Duke Street in downtown Kingston.
This project was born out of the COVID pandemic, where we recognize that food production has to become everybody's business. Traditionally, most of our food in Jamaica is cultivated in rural areas. We believe that even if you are in a dormitory community without land space, we believe that there's still an opportunity for you to produce. In this urban model, you would realize that we are demonstrating how you can do air planting, how you can do planting on your fence line, how you can produce food in different medium. And so we are utilizing a fully integrated approach from collecting your own water by generating your own nutrient within the urban garden model setting, to be able to produce the food that you will eat.
There are a few vital things that plants need to grow. These include sunlight, proper temperature, moisture, air, and nutrients.
One of the basic pieces of technology inside our urban model garden is to demonstrate rainwater harvesting. From your roof, you're collecting your water, not only your roof, but just anywhere there's a runoff, because it could be a runoff underground. And what you want to do is to be able to have some storage capacity.
In the 4-H urban garden, the water is stored underground to ensure there is more available space on the surface. Of course, your environment will determine the most effective setup for your system.
One of the good things about Jamaica, other than when we have night, we always have sunlight. There are some plants that requires a lot more lighting than others. And so one of the things we demonstrate or we share with urban gardeners is where you put what. So there are some plants that you can do indoors. There are some plants that will strive and do better if they were to be grown outdoor. Whether you're using container, you're using your fencing, you're using backyard, front yard, or your rooftop. Another feature that is demonstrated here is composting. To my right is our composting area, and we have a roto-composting bin, as well as we have a regular bin. And in fact, just about all the vegetative matter and the waste from the birds and the animals across there are in fact all placed into our composters, and that is broken down to provide organic matter. Because again, you know, your soil needs that for aeration, it needs it to add humus, and that's what is going to allow your plants to grow well.
And all this can be done in your own space. Livestock is another avenue you can choose in your urban gardening. Rabbit rearing is an excellent source of protein, and it doesn't require much space. You can also use the plants in the garden to feed them. Other animals can be included, such as chicken and fish.
We do a lot of different birds here. You can do your ornamental fish, you can do your tilapia, you know. And you can also do your domestic hens. Because that's something we are also promoting, is to get back to those domestic hens for eggs and meat. There are many things you can do in terms of livestock. It's almost as diverse as you're going for crops.
To replicate this model in your urban space, speak with your Jamaica 4-H Club's parish officer. You can receive seeds and other planting material to get you started.
One of the biggest threats right now in the world is not war or COVID, is really to have a sustainable supply of food. And the view is that no longer can we only rely on the traditional food producer. I think food production has to become everybody's business. And I think the extent to which we are able to get all our people to produce some of what you will consume, I think is one of the greatest steps we can take in looking at the phenomenon of food sustainability.
A strategy the Jamaica 4-H Society has started to aid in maintaining sustainable food within communities. And if you haven't begun the process in your space yet, you can start now.
Before we leave you today, remember these wise words from the great Nelson Mandela. Everyone can rise above their circumstances and achieve success if they are dedicated to and passionate about what they do. You may visit our website at jis.gov.jm to catch up on this show and lots more. I'm Adrian Atkinson, thanking you so much for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.